And a good Wednesday to you. 6th day of May in the year 2020. I am Dan Kuntz, and this is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Life Channel. 52 degrees. The rain is beginning to leave the valley. It's already exited for the most of the people who are watching this program. It rained lightly, showers, if you will, light rain from about 1 o'clock in the morning until right around 5, and then it tapered off, and it's all but done now. Rain leaving, wind coming. Big wind event coming our way. We have a wind advisory. It kicks in at 10 o'clock this morning, goes to 7 o'clock this evening. It's going to be very blustery and windy today. Strong gusts above 40 miles an hour right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Stronger still in the Waterville Plateau. We'll have your complete weather details. We have to get through this strong cold front. It's going to be a lot cooler than it was yesterday. Going to be windy. Going to be a very interesting day from Mother Nature's perspective. And then things look great for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. In fact, probably the nicest weekend weather-wise we've had all year. Forecast details are coming up. We have a bunch of news to get to as well. What about Morning Charity? What about Marshawn Lynch? Think he might come back as a Seahawk? I don't know. He's kind of been under the radar a little bit. Well, we'll check in with Marshawn when we get to sports. We'll also have everything else we're used to, including the obscure holiday, today in history. Everyone is entitled to Mike McDonough's opinion, and some celebrity birthdays. And I was in touch a couple of days ago with the good folks at the Community Foundation in North Central Washington. Beth Stipe is the executive director, and she's been doing this really cool video updates. It's called Beth's Backyard Briefs, and she literally filmed these in her backyard. She's done 2 episodes so far, one a couple of weeks ago and one just a couple of days ago, to find out what the Community Foundation in North Central Washington is doing to help us through these rather difficult times. We'll check in with Beth. We'll air both editions of Beth's Backyard Briefs in the back half of this program. 52 degrees, still a little bit of light rain. The wind is already starting to pick up, and as I mentioned before, that's the big story. But first things first, let's take you around the valley. And since the wind is already starting to pick up, my guess is some of our cameras are going to be a little on the shaky side. That one looks fine, our cross camera, which always begins our festivities. As you can see, the clouds are already beginning to move out of the area. It's going to rain intermittently over most of eastern Washington, but we're pretty much done with it. The lee of the Cascades protected us. It's a very fast-moving cold front, which is why the winds are going to be so strong today. It's going to come in, it's going to come out, but it could blow around loosely tied objects like garbage cans and outdoor patio tables with umbrellas could be taking a flying leap. We don't want that to happen, but right now, it doesn't look too bad. But that cross camera is locked down pretty good. Even on pretty windy conditions, it doesn't really blow around a great deal, even though those towers are designed to have some give and take and a little bit of sway. I don't know if that's going to be the case for the rest of our cameras. I don't know what we're going to look at. Of course, it's always Megan's choice. And she has decided that we're going to take a look at, is that the Apple-Annie's camera? And it is moving a little bit. As you can tell, that's high above the Apple-Annie's Antique Mall, above Cashmere. So it's Cashmere is what we're looking at out there. Still, again, quite a bit of snow in the Cascades. You can see the irrigation ditch in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And once again, as it has been for the last, 7.5 weeks or so, very light traffic between Cashmere and Wenatchee. Good morning to Cashmere. And we can already see some blue skies off on the horizon. We're going to have quite a bit of sunshine today, but it's going to be windy, and it's going to be a lot cooler than yesterday. We had 74 yesterday. We'll be lucky to get to the lower 60s today, and then we warm right back up again. Very dramatic temperature variations. Good morning, Cashmere. Camera number 3. We say hello to, she threw a loop at me. Let me think here. Let me look. Is that Black Mountain from a different angle? It is Black Mountain from a different angle. Thank you. Wow, I did good. That tree is moving around a little bit. That camera is very exposed to the wind. It's right on top of a hillside. It doesn't really have a lot of protection from the wind, so that's going to be moving around a little bit today. Boy, this would be a really bad day to get a fire up and running. In fact, we had a couple of small fires in the North Central Washington area we're going to talk about when we get to news. So, yeah, do not do a controlled burn today. Just don't. It's not a good idea, not with the wind advisory coming our way. And we did get a little bit of light rain, but it wasn't enough to really end our drought, which is getting slightly troublesome. Camera number 4. It is off to see Valley High, I'm guessing. Hey, that is pointing, I think, directly to the south from our Valley High camera on the way up to Blewett Pass. Beautiful view there. I wouldn't mind living there, but it's a long way to drive if you're making dinner and oh, honey, I need a half a stick of butter, and you don't have a half a stick of butter. It's a long drive to the grocery store from Valley High. Oh, there's a truck there on Blewett Pass heading on down the road. You ever been on the old Blewett Pass Highway? Very pretty. Very nice indeed. Really cool. Blewett Pass itself isn't too bad, but the old Blewett Pass Highway is a really neat drive. I would recommend you do it in the middle of the summertime. However, it can get a little dicey at times. So good stuff from our tour around North Central Washington. All of these cameras, of course, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless setup, which means you don't need to have fiber run to your house to get high-speed internet. All you got to do is be able to see visually via line of sight one of our Sky-Fi towers, and we have them all over North Central Washington, to the north, to the south, out to the Columbia Basin. Give Localtel a call. See if you qualify at 888-8888. We've got 3 slides to show for you this morning from the National Weather Service. This is your wind gust forecast, not your sustained winds, but your wind gust forecast. And sure enough, look at that. Wenatchee Valley, we can see the road gust at 45 to 50 miles an hour, certainly up in the Waterville Plateau. The Moses Lake area, again, blowing dust and dirt could be an issue along that I-90 ribbon between Georgia and Ritzville, including the Moses Lake area. Look at how strong the winds are going to be in Ellensburg today. But again, this is a very fast-moving cold front. So the wind advisory begins at 11 o'clock this morning, runs until 7 o'clock this evening. So very windy, sustained winds. Could be anywhere from 25 to 30 miles an hour, but as you can see, gusts near 50 during the afternoon hours into the early evening hours at the areas around our viewing area that are used to having some strong winds this time of the year. Very cool today, much cooler today all over eastern Washington than it was yesterday. Take a look at your forecast afternoon highs from where you live. And the one that blows me away is look at as we switch to that slide, look at how cold it's going to be in Spokane. Spokane's going to be in the lower 50s today. We'll be in the lower 60s today. That's well below normal. Yesterday we had 74, so our afternoon high today is going to be at least 10 degrees cooler than that, if not more. Our normal afternoon high for this time of the year is about 68 degrees, so it is going to be chilly today as this cold front comes through. Again, the rain is pretty much gone, but the rain is going to continue to move to the east, and it's going to be chilly out there for a lot of people. But then look ahead to the weekend. Bring it on. Lots of sunshine. We're going to be in the low 80s here in the Wenatchee Valley, mid 80s perhaps in the Tri-Cities. Everybody will at least be in the mid 70s, even in the more cool spots. It's looking good for the weekend, without question the nicest weekend so far of this year. And quite frankly, we deserve it. So there you go. I'll keep you in the loop from Mother Nature's perspective. Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling gives your home a hug. Let's take a look at the forecast from the National Weather Service. Again, the big story today is the wind advisory. It starts at 11 o'clock this morning. It goes until 7 o'clock this evening. Sustained winds today, about 25 to 35 miles an hour in the Wenatchee Valley. Gusts near 50 in some locations, especially Wenatchee Heights and the Waterville Plateau. That's usually how it is. And that high today of only 61 is much cooler than we had yesterday. So yeah, we're going to be in some windy conditions tonight. The winds will be dying down. Gradually, not dramatically. Overnight low tonight of about 43. It's still going to be windy into the evening hours. West wind about 20 to 30 miles an hour, but it will be decreasing after midnight. But we will still have gusts tonight near 35 to even 40 miles an hour. But as you're sleeping, the cold front is on out of here, and we are looking good for Thursday. Lots of sunshine, just a nice light and variable wind. High of 73, 45 for the overnight low. On Thursday night, Friday, we'll be kissing 80 degrees on Friday. We'll be into the lower 80s on Saturday and Sunday. I mentioned this yesterday. Last time we hit 80 degrees was back on September 5th when we got up to 85 degrees. We have not been in the 80s since, but we're going to be near it on Friday, certainly into the lower 80s on Saturday and Sunday with quite a bit of sunshine before the next minor system comes in on Monday. Again, the big story today is the wind advisory. Starts at 11 o'clock this morning, goes until 7 o'clock this evening. Very windy conditions all afternoon and into the evening hours. If you drive a high-profile rig and you're not carrying a load, you're going to get moved around a little bit, especially in the I-90 corridor and up on Highway 2. Waterville, Douglas, Mansfield, that area, going to be very windy. Watch out for some blowing dust and that kind of stuff. So we're going to have to get through this wild weather today, and then we'll be mighty fine for the next 4 or 5 days after that. We have 52 degrees, overcast conditions, wind out of the west-northwest at 20 miles an hour, and it's going to get windier than that as we work our way through this Wednesday. Going to take a break at 10 minutes after the hour and come back with your news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow. We have live bands to rock the night away, comedy to make you laugh, and if that's not enough, we have poker every Monday and Wednesday night. Club Crow in Cashmere has it all. Check out our Facebook event page for dates and times. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
Outside of a few passing showers, we have mostly cloudy skies, 52 degrees. The wind is already starting to pick up in intensity. Clouds are going to be exiting to the east. We'll have quite a bit of sunshine today and a lot of wind before we have lots of sunshine and warm temperatures beginning tomorrow. Here's what's making headlines. We have a couple of brush fires from yesterday to lead off our story. First of all, the first fire called in shortly after noon yesterday. This was about 1 mile up Hay Canyon near Cashmere. 3 small brush fires on a steep hillside fought using crews from the DNR, Chelan County, and the Forest Service. Those efforts included a couple of helicopters who did some water drops. By the way, the cause of those small fires at Hay Canyon are unknown this morning. And then a short time after that, crews were called out to this brush fire. Look at that. This is in South Wenatchee on Carlson Loop Road. That's when an apparent controlled burn escaped containment, burned slightly more than an acre of brush on a hillside. Crews were able to surround that fire as well. By the way, no injuries were reported on either fire from yesterday afternoon. A second person has died from COVID-19 in Douglas County. The Chelan-Douglas Health District reporting that new fatality yesterday morning. It brings the total number of fatal coronavirus cases in the 2-county area to 7. Out of 210 total cases diagnosed, 4 of those who've died locally were aged 90 or older. 2 senior care facilities where coronavirus took hold last month say they have no more active cases of the infection among either their clients or their staff members. In Wenatchee, Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista says 8 of the 10 residents at its assisted living center who tested positive for the virus have now since recovered, and the 5 staff members who tested positive have also recovered, and they've returned to work. 2 assisted living clients who are both in their 80s and 90s died from the disease. Now, at Bonaventure Senior Living in East Wenatchee, they say it's clear of the virus after all 3 residents and 2 staff members who tested positive for the infection have now since recovered. Operations Director Jeremiah Gray says 1 of the 3 Bonaventure residents died of unrelated causes after testing negative for COVID-19. Police on Tuesday publicly identified the Douglas County Sheriff's deputy who fatally shot a Wenatchee man a couple of weeks ago while responding to a domestic disturbance near Rock Island. Deputy Nick English, 26 years old. He's been with the Douglas County Department since 2017. Before that, he was a U.S. Army paratrooper and a medic. English shot and killed 29-year-old Thomas M. Mathis III on April 21st at the home of a couple living on Norma Lane. A male resident of the home had called 911. Police said at some point Mathis armed himself with a handgun. The shooting is under investigation by a team from the Wenatchee Police Department, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, and the Washington State Patrol. A Wenatchee man who opened fire on children in Washington Park 18 years ago is not going to be released from prison because he fears contracting coronavirus. His name is Hugh Allen Putman. He's 63 years old. He asked Chelan County Superior Court Judge Leslie Allen to shorten his sentence because he believes he's at risk for the virus. But on Friday, Judge Allen said, "You're barking up the wrong tree. That's not our role here at the court. If you want to get out early, you have to apply through the Department of Corrections." Back in July of 2002, Putnam threatened two 13 and 14-year-old boys who were riding bikes in Washington Park about 1 o'clock in the morning and then fired 2 shots from a .22 caliber pistol. He was sentenced to 34 years in prison. About 1,000 Washington inmates have been released to help control the pandemic, but only those classified as nonviolent offenders. Chelan and Douglas County chose not to extend rules against vacation rentals they put in place last month to stop the pandemic spread. Both counties passed resolutions in early April after seeing an influx of short-term renters in Chelan and elsewhere, despite statewide restrictions on travel. The local rental bans had sunset clauses that allowed them to expire, and they have since expired. In a press statement, the Chelan County Commissioners asked short-term rental owners to keep COVID-19 safety in mind while they operate their businesses. The county hopes to formalize permanent rules on the practice come summertime. As part of his 4-phased plan for reopening Washington businesses and activities, Governor Jay Inslee singled out 10 counties that can apply to go to the front of the line for the beginning of phase 2. Now, those counties, in order to do that, they have to have a population of less than 75,000 people, no COVID-19 tests a positive test for the past 3 weeks, and no deaths from the virus. 4th District Congressman Dan Newhouse said Inslee has the right idea in mind about a regional approach to reopening the state, but probably doesn't go far enough.
I see, to give credit where credit is due, I think that we see a little bit of that happening from the governor's plans. Counties that have 0 cases or deaths have been allowed to move a little faster in the reopening phase. So I think that there absolutely is a case to be made for having a more regional approach. For instance, I represent Adams County. I think I was told just today that they have currently 4 cases. All of those patients are recovering at home, and yet the county remains closed, which doesn't seem fair to me, but I think that would be a tremendous candidate for reopening versus Yakima County, which still has a high number of positive cases as well as, unfortunately, a high number of sicknesses and deaths. So I absolutely believe that the state is different enough from area to area, from region to region, that we can look at it in a regional basis.
Finally, on this Wednesday morning, getting stuck at home during a pandemic can be a great way to learn new skills. May is Wildfire Preparedness Month, and Chelan County Fire District Number 1's Community Wildfire Liaison, his name is John Riley. He used the time when he was hanging around home to make his very first educational video. It's him, a camera, and a dog. Here you go.
May is Wildfire Preparedness Month and the perfect time of year to check a few of those wildfire chores off the list. So come with me. I'll show you a few simple tricks around my own yard to keep my house safe from wildfire. Come on.
The dark center of the universe like you thought. And
I'm sitting here on my patio with a couple wood rounds. Thinking about moving these away from my wooden fence here. Also, getting rid of some of this combustible junk I've got laying around. But the thing that's really important to look for is the small stuff. Right here. Pine needles. In fact, I got quite a mess to clean up.
well, it took a lot of work to be the man I am, and I'm pretty well sure that anyone can equally easily work you over. Well, I said something.
It's corners like these where leaves and pine needles build up. Well, during a wildfire, embers are going to blow into those same places, and you're going to have your fuel and your ignition source in the same place in the same time. Right up against my wooden fence. That could lead to some problems this summer.
Well, it took a lot of work to be the man I am, and I'm pretty well sure that anyone can equally easily work you over. Well, you tell me you got nothing to say, and I went shook hands the other day. If you can't see the thin air, what's in your way?
There. Pretty easy. Take a look around your yard. I bet you'll find something like that. Take you 5 minutes to clean up. This has been a backyard video production brought to you by Chelan County Fire District 1.
All of a sudden, I want to learn how to play the banjo. Good stuff. That's what's making headlines at 20 minutes after the hour. The news crew, many of them working remotely at home. Isn't technology a beautiful thing? And just a few skeleton crew members here at the Broadcast Metroplex are still able to cobble together a newscast for you every night at 5, 6, and 10 to preview tonight's news. Here's the anchor, Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, we'll have the latest real estate snapshot of the Wenatchee Valley from Pacific Appraisal and Associates. After today's very windy conditions, a warming trend begins tomorrow. I'll have your North Central Washington weather forecast, and Eric Granstrom will have a look at the day's sports. That and more coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Absolutely. I never miss it, Grant. You can check it out at 5, 6, and 10. You can also watch it on demand. Don't forget, we have our newscast posted in its entirety on our website right around 5 o'clock every evening, and we also post a link to that on our Facebook page. And you can use our Facebook page, by the way, to get a hold of us. Just go to our Facebook page, give us a big old thumbs up while you're hanging around, and drop us a line via Facebook Messenger. You're good at doing that. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com. News@ncwlife.com is our email address. Or if you go to our website, ncwlife.com, go to the top of the page, you'll see a Contact Us icon. You can either just drop us a note or you can submit a news tip. Whatever's best for you. We're going to take a break. Come back with sports, the obscure holiday. Today in history, some celebrity birthdays. Everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion, and we'll check in with Beth Stipe, the executive director of the Community Foundation of North Central Washington, as she records her updated videos from her backyard. Apparently, that's the theme today. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
My name is Lacey Haggerty, and I am a nurse midwife with Columbia Valley Community Health. I love all aspects of my job because it is a profession that's very committed to empowering women to make decisions in their health care that feel best for them. It's incredibly valuable to me as a midwife that I get to take care of women throughout their whole lifespan. I hope to see you at a future visit because I know you'll love having midwifery care.
Hi, my name is Todd Mill with the Rail Station and Ale House in Wenatchee. During this time of the coronavirus pandemic, we're urging you to stay home, stay healthy, and stay safe. As an essential business during this crisis, we're doing our best to serve meals to the children in this community for free to make sure that nobody goes hungry. When this crisis passes and it's safe to do so, we hope you'll come down and join us at the Rail Station and Ale House. But until then, stay home, stay healthy, and stay safe. Thank you.
We're back at 23 minutes after the hour. Let's talk about sports. Of course, the Seahawks. The big talk has been Mr. Clowney, Javidian Clowney. Is he coming back? Are we going to keep him? Well, don't forget about Marshawn Lynch. Lynch admitted that his agent, Doug Hendrickson, has been in talks with Seattle about Marshawn coming back to the Seahawks. This time for the entire season. Of course, Lynch was an emergency signing towards the end of last season because the backfield was just decimated by injuries. Lynch is quoted as saying to ESPN's Scott Van Pelt, well, it's almost on that I expect the unexpected, but just as far as right now, what I do know is I'm keep it solid. My agent has been in talks with Seattle, so like I said, we'll see what happens, and if it works out and I get back up there, it is what it is, and if not, fill in the blank, I'm looking good, so I ain't really tripping too much. I miss that guy. ESPN is doing what it can to keep baseball fans like me engaged in baseball. They've been broadcasting Korean League games, but there's another offer out today, and it's on MLB.com. They're featuring a continuous stream of 42 of the most memorable half innings in modern baseball history. Each half inning will be shown in its entirety, and they're going to be shown in chronological order.
I think it would be safe to say that no man in the history of baseball has ever come up to home plate in a more dramatic moment.
3 balls, 2 strikes. 1 strike away.
2 out in the 9th inning.
And now trying to deliver a game winner.
The crowd is on their feet. A season hangs in the balance on the cusp of a career-defining moment.
This has just been a crazy half inning.
The years, the teams, the faces may change, but if history's taught us anything, baseball immortality is only 1 inning away.
Center field, the Diamondbacks are world champions.
spanning 63 years and featuring all 30 clubs, relive the winning streaks and wild comebacks, bat flips and broken curses, the penance and the perfection.
Alexei!
Icons reaching untouchable milestones and moments that transcended far beyond the game.
It is official now. Cal Ripken has broken Lou Gehrig's record.
The little-known players whose names are forever remembered.
Line drive to the base hit. The Braves go to the World Series.
And those who walked off into baseball lore. So slide into a comfortable position because 8 hours of epic innings begins now.
Yeah, log on to MLB.com, kick back and enjoy all 42 epic half innings. It'll take pretty much all day to air them. And finally, yesterday was the first day the world could open up for outdoor enthusiasts. You could go golfing, you could go fishing, you can go turkey hunting. It reopened in Washington State. Our very own sports director Eric Granstrom spent his morning yesterday doing this.
So it's the 5th of May. Department of Fish and Wildlife and the governor reopened the world today. I was here about 3 weeks ago and was able to coax a tom across the canyon. A lot of folks are going fishing today because fishing also open, but I just kind of had a feeling some of the boat ramps might be a little too busy. So instead, I'll let you guys do the fishing, I'll do the hunting. Well, hiked in here a few miles and called about every ridge line, every draw, and no answers. But a beautiful morning for a walk. Got the whole world right here. Just on the edge of a cliff. You can hear the river down below. Beautiful day. There's no turkeys talking. Now talking and being here are two different things. They could be henned up, and hens, you know, that's their boyfriend. They don't want the boyfriend off gallivanting with some other hen, so they have a way of talking to them and giving them the look to make sure that they hang close. So who knows? But hike out of here and go to another spot where I know there's been some turkeys in the past.
In case you're curious, Eric didn't find a turkey. All you got to do is drop by the station. We got turkeys all over the place. And that's some of the games that people are not playing at 29 minutes after the hour. I had 4 obscure holidays to choose from. It's National Crêpe Suzette Day, National Beverage Day. That's just too much of a holiday. It's National No Diet Day today, but we're not doing any of these things. It's National Nurses Day, and it begins National Nurses Week, which begins today and goes through next week, May 12th, which marks the birthday of Florence Nightingale, who, of course, founded modern nursing. It's been celebrated on this day since 1982. We love nurses. I love nurses. I've had 3 surgeries. I had back surgery. I had my appendix removed, which was not a lot of fun. And then I had surgery on my broken right arm. And all the surgical nurses and the nurses in the hospital, they were just so good to me. We love nurses. I love nurses. The importance of nurses cannot be stressed enough. Nurses today, modern nurses, are doing works that were exclusive to physicians only 10, 20 years ago. In fact, there are many times where you can go, get diagnosed, get treated without ever having to see a doctor. One of the highest professions anybody can go after is to be a nurse. Happy Nurses Day, and it begins National Nurses Week. Love our nurses, we really do. Hang in there, nurses. It's 31 minutes after the hour. Busy day today in history. Happy birthday to the Eiffel Tower. It opened to the public 131 years ago today on May 6, 1889 at the Universal Exposition in Gay, Paris. The Eiffel Tower is 1,063 feet tall, so for those of you who have never seen it, it's basically the same height of about an 81-story building that you would see in any other city. So it's very tall. The Eiffel Tower is the most visited paid monument in the world. Now, there are a lot of monuments that have more people go to it and look at it, but it doesn't cost them anything. It costs you to go up into the Eiffel Tower, and about 7 million people a year do that when it's open. The Eiffel Tower, which was not particularly popular among the Parisians when it first opened, they have since changed their mind. Happy birthday to the Eiffel Tower. May 16th, 1915, 105 years ago today, Babe Ruth, who at that time was exclusively a pitcher with the Boston Red Sox, batting ninth, hit his very first Major League home run. He would hit 713 more. Babe Ruth hit home run number 1 on the state 105 years ago today. People got to remember that Babe Ruth was exclusively a pitcher for the first 4.5 years of his career, which means he only played every 4 days, only when he pitched. They didn't bat him or play him in the outfield for quite some time in Boston, and he always batted ninth. If Babe Ruth had been an outfielder from day one, he probably would have hit something like 800 home runs, but he hit number 1 in the state back in 1915. May 6, 1937, the Hindenburg, the German Zeppelin, the Hindenburg, caught fire and was destroyed. The whole thing happened in about a minute while attempting to dock at Lakehurst, New Jersey. Here is the famous newsreel footage.
It's starting to rain again. The rain had slacked up a little bit. The back motors of the ship are just holding it just enough to keep it from... It bursts into flames. Get it started. It's crashing. It's crashing terrible. Oh, my, get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames, and it's falling on the mooring mast and all the folks between it. This is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, it's the flakes 400 or 500 feet into the sky, and it's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and the flames now, and the flame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. All the humanity and all the passengers screaming around it. I can't talk to people. There's friends around there. I can't talk, ladies and gentlemen. Honest, it's just laying there a mass of smoking wreckage. And everybody can't hardly breathe and talk and screaming. Lady, I'm sorry. Honestly, I can hardly breathe. I'm going to step inside where I cannot see it. Charlie, that's terrible. Listen, folks, I'm going to have to stop for a minute because I've lost my voice. This is the worst thing I've ever witnessed.
Cause of the fire never determined. 36 people died, and for the most part, that was the end of Zeppelin travel in this country. 66 years ago today, they said it couldn't be done. They said a man physically cannot run a mile in under 4 minutes. Sir Roger Bannister of Great Britain proved them wrong, and here's how he described the final lap himself.
3/4 of a mile, the effort was still barely perceptible. The time was 3 minutes, 0.7 seconds, and by now the crowd was roaring. A 4-minute mile was possible. Somehow, to do it, I had to run the last lap in 59 seconds. Chataway led round the next bend, and then I pounced past him at the beginning of the back straight, 300 yards from the finish. I had a moment of mixed joy and anguish when my mind took over. It raced well ahead of my body and drew me compellingly forward. I felt that the moment of a lifetime had come. Those last few seconds seemed never-ending. The faint line of the finishing tape stood ahead as a haven of peace after the struggle. I leapt at the tape, like a man taking his last spring to save himself from the chasm that threatens to engulf him.
Athletic history made on the state 66 years ago today. By the way, Roger Bannister, of course, as you might imagine, set a new world record by becoming the first person ever to run a mile in under 4 minutes. His record held for exactly 19 days, but it happened on this date 66 years ago today. And 26 years ago today, for the first time since the Ice Age, England and mainland Europe were finally connected. Queen Elizabeth II and Francois Mitterrand officiated at the official opening of the Channel Tunnel, affectionately known as the Channel. Here's how it was reported on BBC News.
The Queen started her historic journey from the new Channel Tunnel terminal at London's Waterloo Station, aboard one of the Eurostar passenger trains that will eventually whisk travellers from London to Paris and Brussels in around 3 hours. Today, she was going only as far as Calais to meet the French President François Mitterrand. Her Majesty's train entered the tunnel at Folkestone to applause from those on board. Emerging half an hour later in France, where the President's train was waiting at the platform in Calais. Safety normally precludes two trains travelling on the same line in opposite directions, but today the French and British locomotives came to rest nose to nose, feet apart. Welcomed by her host, the Queen joined President Mitterrand in simultaneously cutting a ribbon officially opening the Under-Channel Link. The project a year behind schedule and costing twice the original estimate of nearly £5 billion.
Yeah, a year behind schedule and twice as much as we told you it would be, but they got the darn thing open. The Channel opened on this date 26 years ago today. And finally, we got some birthdays for you. The founder of psychoanalysis, I could use a little of this, Sigmund Freud. Born in this state in 1856, lived to the age of 83 in 1939. Of course, id, ego, superego. Pretty interesting reading. You learn a lot about yourself when you read some of the works of Sigmund Freud, who founded psychoanalysis, and they still teach his works all these years later. He was born in the state in 1856. Robert Peary was born in this state also in 1856. He didn't live nearly as long as Sigmund Freud. He died at the age of 63, claimed to have reached the North Pole. In April of 1909, his entire expedition was underwritten by the National Geographic Society, and many, many years later, they kind of realized not only did Robert Peary not reach the North Pole, he probably wasn't even close, but the National Geographic Society paid all this money, and so they kind of covered it up a little bit. And finally, in 1989, the National Geographic Society admitted, yeah, he didn't make it. Robert Peary, he was a heck of a salesman, born in the state in 1856. The legendary Orson Welles, born in the state in 1915, died in 1985 at the age of 70. Citizen Kane, The Magnificent Ambersons, his great acting work, considered one of the great Hollywood giants of all time. Orson Welles, born in the state in 1915, lived a full life, but he didn't live very long, died at the age of 70 in 1985. The Say Hey Kid is 89 years old today. Say Hey Willie Mays, baseball's greatest living ball player, 302 lifetime batting average, 3,283 hits, 660 home runs, 1,903 RBIs. Baseball Hall of Fame, class of 1973. The Say Hey Kid is 89 years old today. Happy birthday to Willie Mays. Bob Seger, 75 years old today. You can't go wrong with a good Bob Seger tune. Now and again, a pure rocker and roller from Detroit, Michigan. We love Bob Seger. He's 75 years old today. George Clooney celebrates birthday number 59. He has been nominated for an Academy Award in 6 different categories, which ties him for the all-time record alongside Walt Disney. George Clooney, 59 years old today. Going to take a break. Mike Magnotti's got an opinion, because Mike Magnotti's always got an opinion. And then we'll check in with a cool little series of videos that Beth Stipe has been producing. You all know Beth. She's the executive director of the Community Foundation in North Central Washington. She's been keeping people in the loop on what they're up to with a little video segment called Beth's Backyard Briefs. So we're going to play both editions. There's been 2 of them so far from Beth Stipe. When we come back, you watch Wake Up on Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Kelly's Ace Hardware is open and ready to help with all the essential items you need at this time. Curb service and limited delivery available as well. You can always count on Kelly's when the community calls. Mailboxes Chelan provides important services to our community and will continue to do so on new limited hours. Whatever your shipping and receiving needs, Jerry and Sherry are here to help from 9 to 3 weekdays. Green Dot Subs is open for takeout business. All those fabulous sandwiches that people drive miles to get are still available at both locations in Manson and Chelan. Call ahead and they will make one for you. Pybus Public Market restaurants are open for takeout and our fresh produce, meats, and seafood shops open for pickup. Go to www.pybusmarket.org, click on the red Pybus Market and COVID-19 button to view hours, menus, and place orders online. We are grateful for your continued support of the Pybus Public Market, restaurants, and merchants. Mike's Meats and Seafood, Royal Produce, Little Red's Bakery and Espresso, Fire and Ice, and Pybus Bistro.
Pass along a smile today. Buy a box of chocolates for a friend or for yourself from Chocolat. Order online and pick up locally, or Chocolat ships almost anywhere. For your cheesy cravings, the Cheesemonger shop is open. Call ahead, stop in, or order online and they will ship. Everyone say Cheesemonger shop. Sage Mountain Natural Foods and Deli in Leavenworth is open for all your nutritional needs, supplements, bulk foods, produce, and more. Call now for more information and hours of operation.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNutty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, has become kind of a fad mental health diagnosis. People claim to have it or believe that experience such as having to go through a metal detector at a school can bring it on. Sorry, but no. The criteria for PTSD diagnosis, and I quote from the DSM-5, is exposure to actual threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violence. Believe me, folks, PTSD is a serious diagnosis, and the symptoms are miserable. No one who understands the terrible significance of having PTSD would ever claim to have it if, in fact, they didn't. This is Mike Mad Dog McNutty, and that's my opinion.
People are starting to talk about reopening, and it is these local businesses with boots on the ground and personal guarantees on their loans and leases that are out there working diligently right now to welcome us all back and to keep us all safe. So as that opportunity grows to participate and congregate, remember your friends and neighbors that are the operators of those local businesses. And let's see if we can't turn this struggle into a strength for this entire local business community.
Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Backyard Briefs. I'm Beth Stipe, and I'll be your host today. During normal times, I am the Executive Director of the Community Foundation of North Central Washington, and today I am hosting a video log in my backyard with my two very unhappy dogs that I'm not throwing the ball for them. But I'm here to talk to you today because I wanted you to know what the Community Foundation of North Central Washington is doing with regards to the crisis in our community and how we are utilizing the dollars that you have given to us to make sure that the needs of our community members are being met. First, we want to say thank you. We want to say thank you to all of the donors over the many years who have provided the foundation with unrestricted dollars. Those dollars are flexible dollars that we can utilize and make available at any time when there's a need. And right now, there's a need. So we wanted to start by saying, what are we doing to understand the needs that are out there right now, and how are we connecting those needs with some of the resources that are available? So the first thing we've done is we've implemented sector calls, and these are calls, weekly calls with nonprofit organizations, governmental entities, and other groups that are working in 4 different sectors: youth, seniors, food security, and housing. And those calls are open to any organization that's working in that field, and it's talking about what people are doing, what organizations are doing, what they're seeing as far as what the needs are, and how they're predicting needs that are emerging, and then what resources we might be able to connect them with our various different funds that we have available to us, as well as some of the other resources that are out there. So what we've done with that is we've created a COVID-19 response resource page on our website, cfncw.org. And so those are listed there. Those are resources for families who are homeschooling. I know that many of you have probably seen some of the funny memes that are out there about how well homeschooling is going for parents, and so we wanted to make sure there were some resources available for them. And so those are there, as well as connections for small business owners and also for our nonprofit organizations. We want to thank Jim Fletcher and Josh Stendera for putting together a conference call last Friday when the stimulus SBA loan programs and the PPP loans program became available, and they took their time to help our nonprofits understand what those resources might mean to them. This is the first time in history where nonprofit organizations have been included in a small business administration loan program, so we're pretty excited about that. And then, of course, the Community Foundation is utilizing several different resources to help meet the needs of our nonprofit organizations. Those resources have been deployed this week. And the first one is our Helping Hands grant program. And again, thanks to those donors who have stepped up to help us continue to grow that pot. We have expanded the criteria of that emergency grant program. We're including more voices in the decision making, so we've expanded the committee that makes the decisions on where those grant dollars are going to go and reviewing the applications that come in. We've increased the frequency of those grants. They used to be once every 8 weeks, now they're once every 2 weeks, so that we can keep track and respond to emerging needs as things change. As you all know, almost sometimes it feels like daily or hourly. And the first round of those grants went out and they totaled $34,750. So we're pretty excited about that. And you can find that list on our website as well, cfncw.org. So the second fund that released some resources this week was our Board of Trustees Fund. This is a fund that has been established over many, many years, where our Board of Trustees, members of our Board of Trustees, which is an all-volunteer group of people from the community, contributes dollars, and those dollars are available for our board to deploy in any way they see fit. This week they decided to grant out $55,000 to organizations who are working in the core areas of food security, safety net, and housing support for our community members in Chelan, Douglas, and Okanagan counties. And again, you can see the list of those on our website. Finally, the work continues at the foundation, even though it's a little bit different than it usually is. We are continuing to work through our scholarship program. Miss Julie Mott is doing a fantastic job keeping all of our over 200 volunteers in line and meeting their deadlines so that we can let students know what awards they might have when they go onto a different institution or a college in the fall or a technical school. So we're pretty excited about that. We'll be giving away over $600,000 in scholarships in the next 6 weeks. So that's pretty exciting stuff, and lots of good news on that front. Finally, I wanted to let you know that your foundation is healthy and strong. We have a very talented 28-member board of trustees that are volunteers from all over the region, Chelan, Douglas, and Okanagan counties, and they bring a whole host of talents and time, and they are doing a great job in leading the organization. And you also have a talented group of staff at the Community Foundation doing the work and continuing to, while working off-site, keeping the work of the foundation and making sure your dollars are doing good things in the community as part of our core mission. So stay updated with us. We'll continue to do some of these backyard briefs in the future, but in the meantime, you can be on Facebook, Instagram, or on our website. Those are changing all the time, and we're updating those as we go, thanks to the talented Miss Jennifer Dolch. And so we thank you all again, and we hope that you're staying healthy, and we look forward to the time that we can see your faces again in the foundation, because we sure do miss you. So thank you, and be well.
Coming home home should never be a chore. Let Merry Maids of Wenatchee customize all your cleaning needs. Weekly, bi-weekly, special occasion. Do you have a vacation home that needs cleaning? We clean them too. Locally owned and operated, let Merry Maids do the cleaning while you focus on your family and friends. Merry Maids has special offers to fit your budget. Request your free cleaning estimate today, 509-663-1710.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine-in style at Highlander Bar and Grill in East Wenatchee. Open 7 days a week, Highlander Grill offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in or take it to go, our friendly staff is here to serve you. Reservations recommended for Friday night's prime rib dinner. Call for live music dates. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
Hi, welcome to another edition of the Backyard Briefs. I'm Beth Stipe with the Community Foundation of North Central Washington, and I'm here again with Bella and Clark in my backyard to give you an update on what's happening at your community foundation and the work that we're doing around the COVID-19 crisis in our communities. We're going to call this second session the gratitude session because we have some really good news to share with you, and I think we can all use a little good news in this time. First, we want to say thank you to a bunch of donors who have stepped up to help us to fund all of these grant applications that are coming in. We want to say a special thank you to the MJ Murdoch Charitable Trust, to the Perigee Fund at the Seattle Foundation, our local McDonald's group, and to numerous individuals and donor advised fund holders at the Community Foundation. Thank you. We can't do this work without you, and you are making such a huge difference. Which brings me to the good news that I want to share with you. Last time we talked about the sector calls that we've been having with youth organizations, senior organizations, food serving organizations, and housing organizations. And out of those calls have been some really cool things that have happened. One of the stories we want to share today comes out of our food security sector call. And we had one person who joined the call to represent the city of Wenatchee, and they were working on some census work. And then we had someone from the Community Action Council who was talking about that they were putting food recipes on printed paper in the food boxes that were being distributed, because it used to be when you went to a food bank, you would go and you would kind of shop for the different items that you want. Well, now all of those boxes are prepackaged, and so people might have things that they're not used to, so they're adding recipes so people know what to do with them. But the challenge was that there was no budget for the recipes to be printed. So these two people got together and said, my goodness, well, I have a printing budget for the census work, and you need a printing budget to put your recipes in the boxes, and I need to reach those people who are picking up the boxes. So this wonderful collaboration happened just from having these sector calls. So now we have a brand new printing budget for those recipes that are going in the food boxes. Also, on the senior call, we had a Chelan Valley Visiting Nurse Program that was worried about their funding because they were supposed to get a grant that didn't come through, and someone else from the Accountable Communities of Health was on the call, and they were able to fund them. So that was a super big win for us as well. On the youth serving call, we had a lot of organizations who were learning from each other about the new protocols around caring for children and what to do when we reopen. So lots of learning is being shared. And then finally on our food call just the other day, we had a wonderful conversation about how we can connect our local farmers, our farmers market, and our food banks for people who have food to people that need food. And so those conversations are ongoing, and we're seeing really great collaborations coming out of that. And finally, there's a wonderful group of folks working together to deal with the issue of connectivity, internet connectivity in our region. And so we wanted to give a shout out to Wenatchee School District, the Eastmont School District, Chelan PUD, GWADA, and the NCRL for getting together to figure out how to provide hotspots to low-income families who can't afford internet connections so that their kids can continue to learn and their parents can continue to look for work if they need to. So that was a pretty cool thing that happened just this past week. So second round of Helping Hands grants have gone out, $16,000 this time. So we're well over $50,000 having given out just in the first two rounds. And one of the highlights was grants to help feed school kids on the weekends in the Methow Valley. They had a backpack program that was serving about 150 kids, and once school closed, that number went up to 450 children. So we were able to provide them funding so that they can continue to feed those kids on a much higher level. And we got some really fun feedback from someone who received a Helping Hand grant and who's been participating in our sector calls, and we thought we might share that with you. So this is from a group in the Methow Valley. I'm really excited to expand our support network in this way. I cannot tell you how much I value the Community Foundation and the myriad of ways that you all have helped me through the years to better serve this community. I am just so grateful for the webinars, calls, grants, and classes. You should be so proud of the work you do. We are proud, and we're really grateful to all of you because we couldn't do this work without you and make this impact. So over and above all of this, as we said last week, the work continues at the foundation. We're expanding partnerships. We're bringing new voices to the table. The Accountable Communities of Health, the City of Wenatchee and Chelan County, who are the recipients of federal and state funds, are sitting together at the table so that we're all collaborating and knowing what the needs are in the community. We also have an endowment grant program, and this is one of the highlights of the Community Foundation, where we provide a $50,000 endowment grant to one organization. Those applications are due on May 1st, so that's just next week, amazingly enough, and so we're excited to see those coming in. And finally, our Stronger Schools program is in its final last decision-making leg, and we will have those decisions next Friday. And we are looking for the first time for multi-year grants to help support programs in the schools for more than 1 year. So that'll be next Backyard Brief update. Now stay tuned and stay updated by following Facebook, Instagram, and our website, cfncw.org, and that's the COVID-19 slash COVID-19. And by popular demand, this is a Chuck-It. And this is what the whining dog lives for. So we're gonna show you what this does. Hey, drop it, drop it. Actually, he's gonna walk away with it. So he's not very smart. But we love him anyway, and we love all of you. So thank you, and we'll look forward to a next Backyard Brief with you.
Save Mart remains open to serve our community with its huge selection of furniture, mattresses, and appliances. Parts and Service Department is ready to make sure you have what you need to keep your household functioning during these unusual times. Wenatchee Power Sports is keeping its Parts and Service Departments open to serve the greater community. Agriculture and others depend on these machines to continue to produce and transport the goods and services we need. If you have a pest problem, Harvest Valley Pest Control will remain available to take care of your needs. Call 797-0090 and let us know how we can make your home pest-free.
Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around north central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full mill workshop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special. Guess we just couldn't wait to get to the weather forecast. Couple minutes left in this program, as you know by now. A pretty strong cold front is already beginning to work its way through the Wenatchee Valley. The rain has already exited the area, but we are in for a very windy day. Wind gusts today for the Wenatchee Valley, look at that, 45 to 50 miles an hour. Late in the afternoon, early in the evening hours, that's your timeline when the wind will be at its strongest. We're going to have sustained winds around 25 to 35 miles an hour throughout the course of the afternoon into the evening. In fact, we have a wind advisory. It begins at 11 o'clock this morning, goes until 7 o'clock this evening. The winds will eventually die down, but we're going to be in for about 8 or 9 hours of very windy conditions. And as you can see, especially in the areas around north central Washington that are used to the wind, the Waterville Plateau, Wenatchee Heights, the Milt area, that those folks, you can see gusts near 50 miles an hour. But we're in for a gorgeous weekend. Once this cold front comes through, and it's flying by, it's going real fast, which is why it's going to be so windy. We're in for a beautiful weekend. It's going to be dry and warm. We'll be in the 80s here in the Wenatchee Valley. Pretty much everybody in our viewing area will be at least in the mid-70s by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at that forecast one more time. in its entirety. You saw it briefly. Now you see it right here. Again, a wind advisory starts at 11 o'clock this morning, goes until 7 o'clock tonight. Very windy today. Good consistent wind right around 30 miles an hour. It'll eventually die down tonight, but again, you'll have gusts at 40, maybe even stronger than that. Lots of sunshine. Thursday, high of 73. Look at Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll be into the 80s for the first time since last September by the time we get to the weekend, and I quite frankly can't wait for that. And that's it for us. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.